Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Olivia and this is my channel where I love talking about all things nail polish. If you are new here, I should start by explaining that one of the types of videos that I do on my channel is a series called Did I Nail It?, where I like to take a look at upcoming collection releases or things like limited time releases through like Hella Handmade Creations, Polish Pickup, and so on, and then see if I can duplicate those polishes. I say this because there's going to be a few differences in this video where typically in those videos I'm trying to dupe polishes that are based on just pictures. Like, because these are polishes that have just come out, there's no way that I would have had a chance to actually see them in person for myself and have the actual polish in front of me to compare to. But, so the difference for today's video is that I actually do have the polish in question, Bee's Knees Lacquer Bog Dweller. And yeah, so this video is going to be a little bit different. For those of you who may not have heard of Bog Dweller, it is a polish that originally came out, I believe, sometime earlier this year as part of Bee's Knees Lacquer's regular new polish drops. And when it first came out, and then when it was initially available again through Overpours, there, people really didn't have any issue with picking it up. There wasn't a lot of talk about it. But I guess that what happened in the months after that was that increasingly people started posting photos and videos of their manicures with Bog Dweller, and those who did not have a chance to get it were feeling like they missed out. And then like this past Friday, as of filming, Bee's Knees Lacquer opened their shop again, but then only had, I believe, 11 Bog Dweller polishes available for sale, which, as you can imagine, went very, very quickly. So the reason I decided to switch things up for this video is that I know there's a lot of people out there who feel that they've missed out on their chance to get Bog Dweller. And one of the things that I personally have discovered since I've sort of gotten into here and there, like making my own polishes, is that really a single polish is not like this super magical thing that can only ever be created once. It really comes down to like pigment and glitter and some combination of those things. And I also want to emphasize that even if you don't have a chance to own the exact polish in question, there's no reason why you can't try to use what you do have in your collection to get something, to get a result that is somewhere in the realm of that, somewhere that's close to that. So when I film these videos, like for HHC, PPU, and so on, I don't like to do the testing in advance before filming. If you've seen those videos, you know that what I typically do will be to I'll pull out certain polishes from my collection that I think will be part of my testing process, but I don't actually combine them until I go on camera. In this case though, I wanted to make sure that because I know this is going to be a much shorter video than my usual ones, I wanted to do this in a way that would walk you through my thought process for this, but then also be structured in a way that helps you to more clearly see the progression from which results are kind of close to like the one that I got that spoiler alert, I think that if you don't already have Bog Dweller, but you do have some other pieces here, you could get very close to it. Okay, I'm gonna get into it, and also it's a sunny day, so thankfully I will be able to take the swatch wheel outside and show you how that looks in the sunlight. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so to get things started here, I have started with our first swatch of Bog Dweller in the center so that we know what we're going to be referencing. Side note, as I was swatching this out, some of my Bog Dweller flew out of the bottle because I didn't have the cap on as tight as I thought. So if you see some of my nails that have a little random streak of green, that is why. In any case, what we've got on the outer sides here, I'm starting with 2 coats of cracked polish. I'm jaded. And then moving in one further on either side, I have two coats of ILMP's Princeton, which, as you can see here, does have a linear holographic finish to it. And initially I was a bit concerned about the extent to which that might affect my dupe attempt. But if I hold this up a little bit close, you'll see that when I magnetize Bog Dweller in the cat eye style, it does take on a slightly darker green background color. And so to help us get closer there, what I wanted to do was, on top of these 4 swatches, apply 1 coat of Emily Damali's Sheer Tint Forest. This, I think, is going to help us to still have this like seafoam green foundation for each of the swatches. But if I put this on here, you can see already that this is helping to deepen this a bit and get it closer to where we are with what we're looking to do with matching Bog Dweller. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on Princeton as well. You can kind of see what I mean about it deepening and covering up the linear holographic finish there. I'm gonna go off camera for a second here because I do think I need to add a little bit of thinner into Sheer Tint Forest, and I'm also going to apply it to these swatches as well and then give it a moment to dry. I'm back. And I have added on Sheer Tint Forest to my swatches over here to match the color depth that we have from the 2 on this side. Now, I want to go and add in Fancy Gloss's Silver Magnetic Top Coat. Even though the one that I personally am using right now is from Fancy Gloss, a Silver Magnetic Top Coat is a very common product for many indie nail polish makers to have. So if the one that you have in your collection is from another maker, you can still use it and test this out as well. I'm adding on a coat of this to get the cat eye effect. And once I pull this away, you'll see how this appears. Okay, so let's compare this I'm Jaded to Bog Dweller. I mean, it's getting there. It's not fully there, but we're getting in the ballpark on this. I'm gonna put this on top of Princeton as well so that you can compare and see. Holding that for just a moment there. And that's what we have with Princeton and the Silver Magnetic Top Coat. Now, the results so far are not that far away, but as I was testing this out earlier, I thought, surely there must be a better way. And that's when I went through my collection and pulled out this other one from Fancy Gloss, which is Stellar Pull. Now, if you look at this just on its own in passing, you might think, oh yeah, that's silver. But when you put it together with the Silver Magnetic Top Coat, hopefully you can see that this one on the right is like silver. And this Stellar Pull has a little bit of, I think, sage green color to it. And because of that, I wanted to see how that might affect the results that we could get when putting it on top of I'm Jaded and then Princeton here. So I'm gonna start by doing this over top of I'm Jaded first. already you can see a little bit of the difference with the color there, while in the bottle it did look, at least in my opinion, a little bit more silvery, and you definitely do get like a silvery glow to this in some respect. If I take this away here, you can see like the difference between the silver magnetic top coat and Stellar Pull. Stellar Pull seems to have a lot more of that like fine magnetic pigment particle size that is more comparable to what is in Bog Dweller. So that's why I thought, yeah, we are getting closer here. Let me put Stellar Pull on top of Princeton and Sheer Tint Forest. Doing that there. Taking just a moment. Okay, same thing, right? It's this, just going back to what I mentioned earlier about how once you add in some Sheer Tint Forest and like a magnetic on top of it, you really don't see as much of that linear holographic finish anymore. If it's the case that perhaps Princeton is the only minty green polish you have in your collection, but you do want to try this, but you don't necessarily want the linear holographic finish to show in the result. So when I first tested this out last night, this was where I initially stopped. I thought, yeah, this is close enough, right? But I kept coming back to this, and I kept looking at that Bog Dweller swatch in the middle, and I kept like tilting this around left and right to see like something about Bog Dweller is different than what I'm seeing on either side here, and I just could not put my finger on it. And then I realized that, at least to my eye, what's missing and what's different is that Bog Dweller appears to have just a slight drop of blue in it. Like, do you see how if I focus in on like the two green swatches on the left and then Bog Dweller, like you can see that there's just a little bit of blue difference, right? Same over here. If I were to look at these on the right, green and just a little bit of blue. The problem here is that I don't have a blue jelly in my collection. So that's where I decided I can get creative with this. I'm gonna make this happen. And here's what I did. I decided to do a test with Crack Polish's Breakfast at Monique's, and then put on top of that Crack Polish's I'm Jaded, and then put on top of that Emily Damali Sheer Tint Forest. And I'm gonna pause so that I can swatch out those the combination of these on these two swatches, and when I'm back I will show you what that result color looks like, and we'll then wrap things up by seeing what happens when we put some magnetics on top of it. So I've just finished setting up the layering for these two swatches, and immediately on the other side of my Bog Dweller swatch, combining Crack Polish Breakfast at Monique's with Crack Polish I'm Jaded, and then Emily Damali Sheer Tint Forest. So these two are exactly the same right now. Where they will begin to differ is with the magnetic top coat that I'm going to put on top of it. So just like I did for the ones on this left side, we're doing a silver topper. As I'm layering this, I will say, like, y'all know I'm someone who is not afraid to do some layering, but I don't recall ever layering like a blue and green polish in this way to get the kind of result that I wanted. And yeah, so that's what we got here with that result. The silver is a little bit, it's like a little sprinkle of dusting, so it's not, this wasn't the final best version. I do think that occurred when I put Stellar Pull
on top of that combination of Breakfast at Monique's, I'm Jaded, and Sheerton Forest. Okay. And there we go. This is not going to be an exact dupe of Bog Dweller. I feel that it's still missing, like, if I had like a more bluish like jelly, that would probably be what I would want to use to get there. But if I compare all of these swatch attempts, I personally feel that I got the closest result when I layered the Breakfast at Monique's I'm Jaded Sheer Tint Forest to get there. I'm gonna go back through my collection to see if there are any other polishes that I may have overlooked that could potentially help me to get there. I feel like it's like right on the tip of my finger, literally, needing something that will help me to get to that like slightly dustier, deeper blue color there. But these are the results that I have here. I'm going to take this out into the sunlight to see if there are any differences, and then I'll be back to wrap things up. Okay, I was not expecting to come back yet and with another option, but y'all, I know there have been times on this channel I've been like, trust the process, and this is probably one of the most trust the process times that I've done so far. But I'm very happy with how this turned out, and this is something that I want to really show you the step-by-step of this to show you how this built up. Of course, please feel free to skip ahead and just jump to the end result if you know, for time's sakes, if you want to. But for those of you who are curious to learn a little bit more about polish layering and like the thought process that goes into it, please do watch through this, because even I was very surprised in a good way by how this all came together. So for this one here, that was where I had pulled in Crack Polish Breakfast at Monique's, because recall I mentioned that I felt that I needed a little bit of blue, and Breakfast at Monique's is just that. It's like a little bit of blue. But as I was looking at my results that I had here, I just felt like it still was not blue enough. Like it's a little bit more than it was before, but I just need to push it further. So I went into my collection and pulled out another one from Crack Polish, this stunning blue that is Grotto. So I started with Grotto here, and then my thought process was that I still needed there to be some green. So I went back and got Crack's I'm Jaded. So I'm gonna show you how this goes as I start to combine these. And I know for sure this is a combination I've never tried. You'll see what I mean. Like, look at that. I mean, it's trust the process. We're kind of getting somewhere here. As it is now, it is just very, I don't know about any of y'all, but this result here so far is not something that I would just go out in public wearing. It's a little bit, you can still see here that there are clearly two separate colors. So as that is drying for a bit, I will then explain what I'm going to do next, which is to go in and add in Emily DeMolly's Sheer Tint Forest. The reason behind this is that I want there to still be a deeper blue-green color. And if I look at where Bog Dweller is and where we currently are, I'm getting hints of green, but not enough green, because where we started with Grotto, in this case, if you compare like the depth and like saturation, I guess, of Grotto versus I'm Jaded, this is leaning very heavily towards the blue that Grotto is bringing. So I need to bring in some Sheer Tint Forest to shift that balance back over to the green side while still retaining some hints of blue. So let me just Put a little bit on here. I'll also say this is one of the great things about working with jelly polishes, that they are intended to be buildable. So you can go as sheer as you want. You can add some more layers to increase the depth of that. And as this is drying, let's take a look and see here. Okay, like at first I thought this one was going to be the best result, but it just wasn't there. It wasn't as deep as I needed it to be. I needed it to be deeper, but like bluer, deeper blue. And if you look at Bog Dweller and this, oh, it is so close. It is almost there. So the final piece of this is going to be what is going to happen if I put Stellar Pull on top of my combination of Grotto, I'm Jaded, and Sheer Tin Forest. Okay, here we go. I'm literally holding my breath here. Breathe, Olivia, breathe. It's just nail polish. Okay, this is gonna take just a second to magnetize. And there we have it. Ignore them in the middle. Just look at that and look at that. Is that not almost the exact same thing? I mean, I'm shocked at this. Like this is what I was wanting here. And you know, part of why I do these videos here is to I've mentioned this before, but I think it's so important for me to reiterate that I never want to give off the impression that I'm able to just go from this as my starting point to this being my best end result, just like snapping my fingers. Like, oh yeah, I clearly knew that this one here was going to be the best combination. I didn't know it, you know, even though these three and these three ended up not being options that I was going to go with, I still do appreciate them for what they are and what they contributed to my understanding of how to work with these polishes. Because if it weren't for these 6 other experiments there, I wouldn't have figured out how I needed to fine tune things to get to the point of having something that I consider to be a near dupe of Bog Dweller. So I'm going to put on the DRK Magic Effect to tighten up the magnetic line, and then also put on top coat, and then I'll take this out into the sunlight so we can see some sparkle.
Well, as always, that was a fun experiment. And after having just taken the swatch wheel out into the light, I can absolutely say that this final one here, the last one that I did, was absolutely the best combination. And seeing it in the sunlight showed me that I think probably if you were to put it on a nail, like an actual hand, the result would probably be even closer. Because if I go in here, so again, we're talking about this one on the very far end right there. I think one of the things that makes it look right now slightly different from Bog Dweller here is the level of opacity. And this one, my best dupe attempt, is looking more opaque because I started with the foundation of a blue cream polish, whereas Bog Dweller is just like Bog Dweller by itself. I think if you were to put like a similar cream under Bog Dweller, for example, you would see a lot even closer like depth there. So even knowing that, I still think that, wow, the similarity here is a lot better than I was expecting. Unfortunately, as of the date that I'm filming this, Stellar Pull that
that magnetic topper that I was using for Fancy Gloss for the ones on this side of the swatch wheel is currently not in stock on the Fancy Gloss website. However, I did see that Fancy Gloss is doing its next restock at the end of this month on Halloween. I don't yet know if Stellar Pull is going to be part of that restock, but if it's the case that you really feel like you missed out on Bog Dweller and you want something that is going to scratch that itch and be as close to it as possible, I would recommend keep your eye out on the Fancy Gloss website for that reopening. You can even sign up on their website right now to be added onto their email list so that you can, I believe, be notified when it reopens. They also have a Facebook group that you can join to get even more updates about which polishes are being considered for being included in the restock. I know that Bog Dweller is a polish that many people feel that they feel very upset about not being able to purchase, and I can relate to that feeling. So that's why I wanted to do kind of like a one-off did I nail it video for you all to give you another option that's out there. And so finally, to answer the question of did I nail it in this case, I surprisingly think that I did. And I do, just as always, encourage all of you to as much as I know that we have a tendency to get attached to certain polishes and feeling like you missed out on a certain specific polish, do know that even if you didn't get that one, it's not the end of the world. There's going to be other options out there, and please do not overspend for buying it off of like a Facebook group or Mercari or anything like that. Sometimes, I'm not saying for Bog Dweller specifically, but I know for other polishes I've seen in the past, I've seen people list a single bottle of nail polish for sale for $250 plus. Please do not pay $250 for a single bottle of nail polish. I mean, even if you were to just buy the individual polishes that I used for these dupe attempts, it would be far less than that. And you could use all of those polishes for other things too. So it would be a better financial situation that way. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now. And just as I'm wrapping up, thank you all again, as always, for all of your love and support on this channel. If any of you have done your own Bog Dweller dupe attempts, I would love to hear about that in the comments. Also, if there are any other polishes that you are that you feel you missed out on and you're looking for some guidance as to how to recreate it, please let me know as well, and I'll see if I can take a stab at it. All right, thank you all again, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Bye.